We are live.
Yay!
Okay.
You think's recording?
Yeah. tell the people what they want to hear. How did we
Okay.
meet?
Well, so first off, this was April 2024-ish times. Um, the dating scene is hard, and so we had Hinge, and so we had actually matched on Hinge. I reached out to her because she rickrolled me, and I usually don't listen to sound bites, but I thought she was cute, and there was one that said, like, what is your greatest fear, or my greatest fear, or something like that. And so I was like, oh, I clicked it, and then I got rickrolled. And so I thought that was funny, so I commented on that, and no response, nothing, not at all.
Whoopsies. I have a lot of dudes on my roster. Sorry.
Yeah, you're popular.
No.
um, and but I went home to Syracuse that weekend, and she had like a picture of like a muscly frog that she drew on her Hinge profile, and so I showed it to Katie and was like, "Oh, her art's better than yours." And Katie, my sister, I was like, "Wait, I know her." Apparently, she's tried to set us up forever ago, and cut back. I don't remember how many months ago it was. Long time before that, we went to. My sister invited me to a game night.
It was the summer before. So it was the summer of 2023.
Okay. She's my fact checker.
Yeah, you want me to tell this part?
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently we found out later that in the summer of 2023, I had hosted a game night at my apartment, and I had invited Katie, his sister, because she's my good friend, and she was like, "Oh, can I bring my brother?" And I was like, "Sure." And so he was totally at my apartment, but I don't know, he left pretty quick. I guess there weren't any cute girls there, so he was like, "Gotta scram."
Not true.
But I don't remember him at all.
Yeah, fair. Apparently I wasn't memorable
You don't
enough.
remember me.
I do.
Okay, he says he does.
I went there, and it was like during, I don't know, I had like some project, and Katie was begging me to go with her. And so I was like, fine, I'll go for a little bit, maybe a game or two, and then I'll head out. So I went and played a game. I didn't have much time. And Katie followed up and was like, hey, like, is there any girls that you would want, like, that you thought was cute or anything like that? And I had mentioned her, and so, but
never got back to me.
Never got back to her. I just, things got busy, and
I think I was flirting with two different boys at that particular.
Yeah, she's quite the player. And I was just flirting with schoolwork. That's all I was doing. Also, another thing that we almost met was she almost moved into my apartment complex a year before that.
Yeah, so that was in let's see, it was winter of 2023, I believe. So I was back from my mission, and so was my friend KT. And so we were looking for apartments for winter semester, which is a little bit harder to find because not as many people are selling contracts. And there was two different girls I was messaging about it, but one of them was like a lot quicker replying than the other, so we ended up going with the first one just because we were like, we just want to get it done. We want to make sure we have a place. But the second girl that replied like very soon after we agreed to go with the first girl was in his apartment complex. Yeah. So we
almost met through that.
Almost met again. But anyway, we're glad we finally did meet.
Yes.
And our first date.
Okay.
Who wants to start this one?
Well, who would be better to start?
I mean, you asked me on the date, so maybe you should start it.
Okay. We messaged back and forth on Hinge for a bit, and
not really. It was maybe like 2 minutes.
Well, okay. Something we forgot to mention in the first date one is that I showed the picture to my sister, and she said, I know her. And then I messaged Kay, do you know Katie Allred?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what got her to respond, actually, was that she knew my
Yeah, so it's
sister.
like my curiosity was piqued, and I was like, yeah, but like, how would he know that I know her? Like, there's no pictures
So
of
that
her
was the
on
only
my
reason she messaged
hinge. So I
back
was
to
like,
me.
and like, I forgot that she had brothers, Loki. So I was like, yeah, she's one of my good friends. How do you know her? And he's like, oh, she's my sister. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then immediately my roommate, like, I told my roommate, and she is also good friends with his sister. And so she called her, and she was like, you're never going to believe this. Your brother matched with Kay on Hinge. And they basically low key got really excited. And so I was like sitting there, and I was like stirring some like pasta. And I was like, well, guess I'm gonna have to go on a date with this guy because my friends are so invested. And so he replied after that, and like, was talked for like a couple minutes, and then he was basically like, hey, like, I would love to take you on a date.
And she said yes. So I invited her over, and um, I made sure all my roommates weren't there, and I spent the entire day cleaning the kitchen because one of my roommates, did not put any dishes away. So I spent like a good portion of the day cleaning the kitchen to get ready for Kay to come over, and she did, and we made um, Parmesan chicken, chicken
Yeah,
Parmesan,
chicken parmesan.
chicken Parmesan, and she thought it was mid. I really liked the recipe.
No, it was no. That's not true. Okay, it was not mid. We just kind of you had to fry it in some oil, and I think the oil was too hot
Yeah,
because the outside got kind of blackened, but the chicken inside wasn't cooked to temperature, so we had to like keep cooking it. So the outside was just a little burnt, but it wasn't like too burnt. Like it was still good, and the sauce was really good.
yeah. I like the sauce. It was like everything was homemade because I got a cookbook that
Yeah.
for Christmas, I think, and then we cooked it out of that. But it tasted fine.
Well, I also thought it was cute because he had like aprons there that he had like borrowed from his
Yeah, I
sister
borrowed a girl's apron for my sister,
just
and
for
I
me
had
to
a
wear.
manly apron that I always wore when I cooked.
And so that was cute. We were wearing aprons. And I don't think you mentioned this because this was on my side, but when I first saw him, I was like, oh, he's actually cuter than his profile picture, which is bad to say, but
My
I was pleasantly
profile's not very
surprised. I
good,
was pleasantly surprised.
and she was very cute when I opened up the door too.
Thanks.
And
You said you didn't recognize me,
yeah, but I didn't
which is
really
messed
like.
up.
I'm really bad with faces, and I didn't really study the pictures too much. And so when I was opening the door, I was really surprised because she was really cute too.
Thanks.
Um, and so as we were going throughout the day, we talked a lot, and out of a lot of the dates that I went on, it was really easy to talk to her. And one of the things that was funny is that I watch a couple of animes, and only a few, and only good ones that are not bad or anything like that. But I usually don't reveal that on the first date because it can come with a lot of negative, you know, I'm not a weeb or anything like that.
Okay.
And we were talking, and my first card that I had was named Dirty Mike,
Yeah.
which I thought was a really clever name, and it was really funny. He was a good car, but I ended up selling him and buying another car. And I was telling her this story, and she asked like what was the name of the card that I had, and it was Hanji. And she asked, "Oh, what is that from?" I'm like, "Oh, it's from a show." And she's like, "Oh, what show?" And I'm like,
I'm just like
it's
good
it's
conversations. What can I
Attack on
say?
Titan." And she's like, "Oh, what is it about?" I'm like, "It's an anime."
I was like, oh, cool.
And so it was just a character from an anime.
I'd
And
seen a couple
so even
animes.
though as much as I tried to keep it under the wraps, it came out that I watched anime, and she still wanted a second date with me. So
True.
win, I guess.
True. Yeah, no, I thought it was cute. And basically, after the date, kind of my thoughts were, you know what? That was a decent date because the conversation flowed good. I wasn't like super, socially drained after. And so I was like, well, maybe I'd go on a second date, but also finals are about to start. It was like probably a week before finals. So it's like
Yeah.
the very end of the semester. And I was taking OChem 2, which was pretty rough, and
And I
along with
was
other
taking
classes. So
heat transfer, which is
yeah,
insane.
so we were kind of both stressed, and so I messaged him like thanks for the date, but I didn't hear anything. Well, he replied thanks for the date too, and then
Yeah.
neither of us messaged for like 2 weeks until finals were over.
Mm-hmm. And
then he messaged me.
Yeah.
Is that what you're
And I
gonna say?
messaged, yeah. Basically, I messaged her because I wanted to ask her out again. But I also wanted it to be a group date to see kind of how she was around like other people and stuff like that. Around
I'm
some of my
scared of
friends.
people, so
Yeah. So
really scary date.
and so I messaged her and was like, "Hey, do you want to like we're doing a group date?" They asked me to bring somebody, so I thought it'd be fun to go on a date with you.
No, specifically, he said something along the lines of, "My friends have been bugging me to go on a group date, and I need a date. You want to come with me?"
And
So,
I mentioned that I would be fun if you came.
Yeah, but to me, I was like, is this like he actually wants to go on a date, or am I just his only option? And it's like a favor date.
One thing about me is I'm very bad at texting. Like I text back, but it's not clear sometimes when I text what my true intention is.
Just text like a dad, pretty much, and
Yeah.
I accepted that, and that's fine. But our second date was good. We got separated from your friends for a good while.
Yeah, it was a long time
because
there was some
find them.
There was a miscommunication about like where we were gonna meet, and so me and Kay were just like by ourselves for
we were just walking
like, probably
around.
Like an hour, maybe
even more, like probably like an hour and a half.
So we were like walking around, and I was in charge of the axe to cut the firewood. So I was just like, we were just walking around the woods while I was carrying an axe.
Yeah, and I made a couple jokes like, "Wow, I met you online, and now you're leading me into the woods with an axe." Like we made some
and then
jokes.
I handed her the axe.
Yeah, and then we made jokes.
And I was stuck in the woods with her with an axe, and so
yeah, it was good though.
And then we sat in the back of my car and just chit chatted, and then finally we were able to find the other guys, and we sat around a fire and just talked. And they were listening.
All the other guys were cuddling.
They were cuddling, and we were like.
But it was good. It was good. And again, the conversation just flowed well. And so then afterwards, I was like, I wouldn't say like I'm yet at the point of like liking him, but I don't dislike him, that sounds bad, but that's a step up. Usually, like after like a day or two, I'm like, eh. But I was like, you know what, like I'd be interested in learning more. And so I was like, okay, now I need to plan a date. And so I planned a date, and it was a picnic date. But then he texted me and was like, I actually have food poisoning. And so
it was not from the Parmesan chicken, right?
No, yeah, surprisingly.
I remember what it was from.
It was from Steak Express.
Ah, yes.
And then so anyway, we ended up rescheduling that, and I took him to a little pond with ducks, not the BYU duck pond. It was a pond along the Provo River.
Yeah, like very south on the Provo River from our apartment.
Yeah, and we had some food, and there was a duck that like walked over to me. Do you remember this?
Yeah, the duck walked up, and it was super cute. Right? Oh, look at it! It just turned around and just took a dump right next to us.
Yeah,
and a bunch of flies flew over. It was great. Right when we were eating.
When he turned, and I swear he like glared at me. So that was good. So that was our third date. And then our
but another thing about that date.
Yeah, go over it.
We were talking, and it was really good chatting with her, and I didn't realize it, but I was like facing her and talking with her, and so enthralled in the conversation that I didn't even think about that the sun was just like beating down on half my body.
True.
And so after that day, I like walked in my house, and like half of my body was sunburned and the other half was not, because I was just like standing, like looking straight at her the whole time.
It's pretty funny.
And I was two-faced after that date.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But so yeah, that was our third date. Our fourth date, Brayden planned it. I assisted with the planning of it.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about like what we wanted to do that was fun, and so I asked her for some ideas. And I think one of the ideas was,
I think Yeah, so when I had planned the third date, I had given you a couple choices, and one of them was watercolors.
Yeah.
And then so you were like, "Ooh, maybe we should actually do the watercolors."
Yeah.
And so
didn't you bring the watercolor?
Yeah,
stuff?
I brought the watercolor
and then
stuff because I already
I
had
found
it.
the place to go. It's like this little dirt road that you can kind of turn off of. And so we went over there. I backed my car up towards the lake, and so that way we can watercolor the lake together. And it was a really fun date.
Yeah. We talked for a long time. We painted the scenery. There was like some loud frogs.
Her painting was better than mine.
No. We'll put a picture in so they can be the judge of which one's better.
I see. But hers is better. Tell her, even if it's not, tell her that it is, because she has a big ego. Just kidding.
Messed up. That's messed up.
Make her feel better.
That's messed up. But no, yours was better. But that's besides the point.
Mm-mm.
The point is that, well, tell what you were thinking and feeling during that date.
I mean,
I'm trying to expose you.
Yeah. I mean, like up to this point, I thought she was cute. I was like, kind of like, oh, do I like this girl? Like I enjoy going on dates with her. A lot of the dates I go on afterwards, I'm just exhausted, and I'm just so tired. But like after every date, I like feel good after every single date that we had, and like I haven't been on too many fourth dates with girls, and so like I was like, oh, like how do I feel about this girl? And so we were just sitting in the back of my car talking and painting, and then once we were done painting, we just kept sitting down and talking, and she was sitting really we're sitting really close to each other, and I am somebody who's very nervous and scared, especially because like I just didn't have a lot of experience with like relationships, like especially like the romantic variety and stuff like that. Like I've been on a lot of like first dates, a couple second dates, very few third dates, and that's about it. And so I was like sitting next to her, I'm like, oh, do I put my arm around her? Do I like what do I do? And so that was kind of like an internal struggle that I was having during a lot of the date. But I ended up not putting my arm around her because I was scared.
True.
But we had a really good conversation and talked a lot, and I drove her back to her house, and it was just really nice. And I ended up thinking about that day being like, I think I like this girl, and I want to continue to pursue a possibility of a relationship. And that's just kind of like what I left off on that fourth date.
Yeah, and mine was similar, though mine was like a little bit later. Mine, I didn't realize that I liked him until we were driving back, and we were in the car, and I was thinking to myself, wow, I just feel so much peace right now. That's kind of interesting. And then immediately a song came on the radio, and the title was Peace. I want us, I want you, I want me, I want peace. I was just in that moment, I was like, oh, that's good. Feeling peace is a really good thing. Maybe this is going somewhere, and so from that moment I decided, I was like, okay, like I'm gonna be more open to the idea of like initiating stuff, and like also like just more progressing towards an actual relationship. And so we went on a couple more dates after that.
Yeah.
We went to a wedding.
Well, first we watched Tangled.
Oh, this story. We have to tell this story.
Yeah, sadly we have to tell this story. So again, the running theme with me, Corey, and Kay is going to be I was scared, but I
eventually did it anyway. You eventually did it anyway.
Yeah. And so I wanted to put my arm around her. And I know that's a small step, and I know a lot of people do that all the time.
First date.
First date and stuff like that. But for me, I'm like, I've never really done that before. And so I was terrified. And so we're watching Tangled.
Fifth date, keep in mind.
Fifth date. We're watching Tangled.
And before the movie, we had been talking for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
I just have to preface that.
Yeah, we had talked for a long time, and then we're like, oh, you want to start it? And I'm like, I know that. I'm like, I got to put my arm around her sometime. I got to get the courage to do it. And we were sitting so close to each other.
Well, the thing is, we kept having tech issues because, like, he couldn't use his TV because Disney Plus wasn't working or something, and then so he was screencasting from his phone.
But I'm a problem solver, so I found a way. But our Wi-Fi wasn't working very well.
So he was using like his phone, but it kept buffering, and then so he went and grabbed his laptop. But then at one point he had to something happened with his laptop. It was just a whole series of insane tech issues,
and so it made my nervousness even more huge because I was nervous and everything's going wrong, and it's just supposed to be a romantic moment where I can put my arm around her. But it was just,
there were so many tech issues, but every time you sat down, he kept sitting closer and closer. Low-key, the couch is pretty small as it is. It's even smaller than this couch. And it took him a while, but he finally got up the courage.
I needed something to just say something or anything that would make it so I was committed to putting my arm around her, because I wasn't, I just could not bring myself up to just, put my arm around her. And so I needed something, and so it is embarrassing, and everyone laughs when I tell the story, but it had rained earlier in the day, so
it was not raining currently.
It was not raining then, and so there's a window behind us with blinds, and so I was like, oh, I'm just checking if it's raining.
No, you go, is it raining outside?
Oh, is it raining outside? And then I put my arm around her.
And I was like, it's not raining. I don't think I said that. I don't think I said anything, actually.
You just leaned in, and that was just once you leaned in, I was like, oh, okay. I think that's her accepting me putting my arm around her, because I never really done that before, so I didn't know if I was doing good or not.
Yeah.
And so then we watched the rest of the movie.
Yep.
And that was that date.
How was that?
I took her home, and
then a little bit after that, you invited me to a wedding.
Yes, my friend Ben was getting wed.
Was getting wed.
True. Was getting married, and day with me, and we went, and it was fun. It was good to see Ben, and afterwards I was like, do you want to go grab something to eat? And so we went to City Creek, and we're looking around the food court for something to eat, and everything was closing at this point.
Yeah, we were looking at we're like, oh, look at this Greek food, and we're looking at the sign, and the workers are watching us look at the sign, and then they just turn the sign off and close the window, and we're like, oh, guess it's closed. And so we finally found a place that was open, but it was Chinese food, and they only had one option, one chicken left and one side, and it was definitely the most
very
mid Chinese food I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
But we ate that, and then we walked around downtown, just kind of walking around.
Just
at this point,
and
it doesn't make any sense because we had mildly cuddled on our previous date, but
I was scared again.
I wanted
to hold her hand, but I was scared.
And I'm bad at taking initiative, and so we weren't holding hands. And then eventually he was walking, and he was, he pulled up the line, are your hands cold? And I was like, no, are yours? And he goes like this for me to touch his hand. And so I touched his hand, and they were actually so cold.
My hands were freezing.
I thought it was just going to be a little clever phrase.
No, my hands were cold.
But his hands actually were cold. I was like, oh my gosh, they are cold. And then he was like, well, you can warm them up for me then. And then
and again, cheesy.
And then I was like, how long have you been planning that? And he's like,
I just thought about it on the spot.
And I was like,
I didn't think of that one. That was just I was like, and again, my friends laugh at me for that one too. But I had to do something to be able to get the courage to hold her hand. And then, so we held hands and we listened to music. from my phone as we walked, and it was a really cute date. And we like sat down on a bench and just like listened to like songs like T for One by Led Zeppelin was one
Yeah.
of them that kind of stood out. But it was a nice date, and took her home, and that was that date.
And then you're probably wondering, when did you guys kiss? That was the date after that. And it was very far into the date after that.
Yeah.
But we went to his apartment. We watched a movie.
Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Good movie.
Great movie. Recommended if you haven't seen it.
And then we went on a drive, and we were just talking for a long time about a bunch of stuff. And he drove to the lake we had painted pictures on for our fourth date.
It'll be super cute. Like, we'll go. It's a callback. It's great. It's gonna be so good. So I'm like driving back. I'm like, okay, gearing myself up. Like you're gonna be kissing her tonight, probably. And so get to the spot that's like meaningful to the both of you, and then figure it out from there. And we're pulling up. I drive around. I turn the corner, and there's a police officer arresting people exactly at the spot we parked our car last time we were there.
Like, body up against the police car, hands behind their back. We're like,
oh, okay, I guess we'll find another place. And so I just kept driving, and then I was like, okay, we're down south a bit. Maybe we can go up Hobble Creek Canyon. I just, at a random place, I just kind of pulled off to the side of the road. And we just kept talking, and you can tell this part of the story because you're better at telling it.
So basically, I had told a really long story about my mission. And so then I was like, okay, I've been yapping for too long. It's your turn to tell a story. And then you were like, what type of story? And I was like, I don't know, whatever type you want. So he starts, and he's like, once upon a time, there was a boy and a girl, and they went on a date, and they made chicken parmesan. And he just keeps listing all the things we've done together.
It's cute and cringe, I know.
It was cute and cringe. And then he's like, and then they watched a movie, and they went on a drive, and they talked. And then he just pauses. And he paused for so long that I kid you not, I almost fell asleep. You know when you're on, like, the verge of, like, falling asleep? And so I said, like, I kind of woke myself up by being like, what happened next? And then he goes, he really wanted to kiss her, but he was a little scared. And then I was like, it's okay, I'm scared too. And so then we were like, let's do this. So we kissed. I'll spare you the gory details, but it was really bad.
It was a really bad first kiss.
And, I mean, it was his first kiss. I didn't kiss him.
I don't know. I don't remember if she kissed good or not, but apparently I was,
he
so
was
scared.
Doing some weird stuff.
And I was like, panicking and like, yeah. And I never kissed anybody before.
Yeah, and it had been a long time since I had kissed somebody, so it was bad. And so I started laughing, which I felt bad about.
And then I laughed because it was funny. And so we were both just laughing after our first kiss because it was just funny, which very on par for our relationship.
And I coached him a bit, and then we tried
again. She gave me pointers.
It was good. But it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then the last date that we're going to talk about, that sounds dramatic. It's not our last date.
There was a couple more. Did we go on any other dates between those two?
No.
Okay. So the next date, there's a place up American Fork Canyon called Silver Lake that I really enjoy. I've been up there a bunch with friends. It's kind of like a remote lake because you have to drive up this really windy dirt road. And so not a lot of people go up there. And so we drove up there, and I brought some hammocks, and we found a place in the trees to hammock. And while we were there, we were talking. We kissed a little, and I did a lot better this time.
You did.
But I told her, I was like, hey, no pressure, but I really like you, and I don't want to date any other girls. I don't want to see anyone else. I want to get to know you more. And so if you want, um, we could start going steady and seeing each other one on one. And then she said no.
Not true. That is not true. I said that I wanted some time to think about it.
So that was a no.
But I clarified that I didn't need to go on dates with any other dudes to think about it. I just wanted to be sure before I started introducing him as my boyfriend to people.
Yeah.
And so
and of course, I was fine with it. I was like, okay.
He cried the whole way home.
No.
Just kidding.
Not true. I was okay with okay, she needs some time to think about it. That's okay. Like, I said my piece. I said my feelings. If she feels otherwise, then I'll deal with that. And so I was a little nervous, and I was like, I wonder how long. She said, like, oh, give me like a week. I think
I said like a week, 2 max.
Yeah. And so I was like gearing up for like, okay, a week, 2 of confessing my feelings to a girl. And does she feel the same way? I hope so.
But lucky him, I thought about it at work the next day, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to say yes. And so I invited him over, but I didn't tell him that I was going to be saying yes.
Yeah.
So he showed up, and he looked low-key terrified, because I had been like, hey, do you want to come over and talk? And he looked so terrified. And then I told him that I think I just said the answer is yes.
Yeah, you're just like, because your sister was there, and your sister just like got up and left randomly, and I was like, okay, and you're just like, the answer is yes.
Oh, it was my sister. It was my roommate.
Your roommate. It was Kate. Was it KT?
Yeah, KT.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, the answer is yes, and then he was so happy, and then he called his sister and told her, since she was my friend as well, and that was funny. But
yep.
And the rest of that is history. And see.